are white, to be fair. Well, white, black. I haven't got many Turkish friends because we sort of left London a long, long time ago.
Okay.
For me, though, this started back at 9/11,
Right.
when it all really kicked off. That's when it all went sour, if you want. And my background is as well, I used to run a bike club. I'm a biker, was a biker. And I don't know if you know much about the bike scene, but they are quite a nationalistic.
Can be.
They are. No, they are. I used to go to the things myself. I used to do all the charity.
The only reason I said that was because I'll get a message from someone who is a biker and he's not a nationalist in the way that you just. So I'm just putting that caveat out there. But it's your story. It's your story, not mine.
No, when I carry on the story, you'll see that there are still some that are not. I've still got some biker friends, but I would say since 9/11, all the way up till today, and I'm still doing it as of today, I would say I've lost at least 90% of my friends.
Wow.
At least 90%. I used to run a bike club. It all stopped. Since 9/11, you know, they were posting things, and I would say to them, "Look, you can't post that and have me on your friends list. You can't. You just can't do that. You know, it's contradicting. You just can't do it." And they would agree, and we would fall out. And we used to go on trips together, big groups of us all around Europe.
So you're the living embodiment of I don't mean you, aren't you? So
absolutely. I mean, if you listen to me, and if I didn't tell you my ethnicity, you'd never know. You know, and I've suffered with the racism, if you like, all my life. Going for jobs, ringing up for jobs, and, you know, and they say, "Yeah, come down, you know, you oh, lovely, you sound brilliant." I tell them my name's Del, everyone knows me as Del.
Right.
So you couldn't tell, but walk through the door and the job's gone.
Oh.
You know, and I knew it was, I was expecting it. You know, like I say, 60 years ago, I've been through this all my life.
So this shift after, because the Muslim experience in general changed forever on September 11th, which is, of course, what the terrorists wanted. But you're talking about people who would not previously have going there and not realising that when they were posting these hateful tropes or comments or memes or whatever they are, the hate they were harvesting was directed at people like you.
Absolutely, and worse than that, they're putting me and my kind and my family in harm's way, is what they're doing. You know, I'm supposed to be a trusted friend, and we're supposed to care about each other.
Does anyone ever respond correctly? I mean, does anyone go, "Crikey, Del, you're right, I'm so sorry, man"?
Very few and far between, very few. And this goes on till today. You know, I'm still going with the latest stuff that's going on. I've had to put a post up recently on my Facebook saying, look, if you're sharing and posting these things, then you obviously don't give a flying whatever about me, my family, or my kind safety. You know, so delete me. And if you don't delete me, I'll delete you. That's what's going to happen. I don't think you in my life. And it's come to the point now where lately, or the last thing that's happened, I've actually thought to myself, and if it wasn't for my grandchild and my children and my other family, I would want to leave. I don't feel like I belong here no more. I don't feel like I'm safe here no more. And I worry for my family. I really do. I mean, I don't look. You know, I'm a big, tough, lorry-driving ex-biker. You know, my mum wears all the Muslim gear. My sisters, you know, they do.
It's more people describe it as well. It's more Muslim. Describe it as all the Muslim gear. I think it might actually be quite a force for good, Del, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm an East End of Earth, you know, so this is what you got. I'm a Turkish Cypriot cockney, and that's the way I talk. You know, so
and your country's changing at the moment. You feel it changing around you, not for the better.
It's been doing it since 9/11, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And it started with those in power.
Yes.
It started with the so-called elites and those in power and the media modules, and it started with them. You know, then everyone else jumped on it.
And once it becomes commonplace, that you've got to go further, and you've got to go further, and you've got to go further, and then they're throwing bricks at the police and trying to set fire to.
And it's been entrenched into what our society now since 9/11. It's a long time ago. You know, and the Muslims have been vilified since then.
Constantly.
Yeah, absolutely, constantly. You know, I've got my theories on the agenda, but I'm not going to put it up. You know, I'm not going to say about it. I've got my own theories on why this is happening. But that's neither here nor there.
Well, it's happening, I think, because it's very good for business, for the people whose names have popped up again and again and again on this program, and will continue to do
And the
so.
political agendas, you know, that came first. The
And they
political
enrich
agendas.
themselves. Yeah, I want to say something to reassure you. I want to say something to say this is still your home. You know, you're still. Welcome's not the right word. You don't welcome people into their own home, do you?
Well, no, my parents came here with British passports. There was a British colony. You know, as did a lot of these people. You know, they came here invited by the state. You know, and they came from British colonies. And, you know, it's disgusting. It's horrible. It's a horrible thing to live through. It really is. You marginalise and it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, that margin. So, and to the point where you just feel like, bloody well, I can't come home. That's it.
It's not fair.
No, it's not fair. It's horrible.
It's horrible.
And I feel for like, and I've got 3 children here, I've got a grandson now. And I worry about them. What are they going to be going through?
Well,
You know, when I'm gone.
as long as people like you are out there fighting the good fight, things will get better.
Well, no, it's a losing battle. I'm not
It's
fighting.
not a losing battle. You might be losing the battle on Facebook, but there'll be people listening to this program right now who you've just given a bit of a wake-up call to. They'll be thinking, God, James, right. I'm in danger of slipping into that worldview, or I have slipped into it, and now I'm going to slip out of it.
Don't get me wrong, James. I do feel the majority of the general public are good.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they're bad and they're all far right.
Same,
You know,
same here.
I
Absolutely.
don't think that. It's a very small minority.
But they're very, very noisy.
But the
And they're
noisy
getting
ones
bigger.
are the ones with the power.
They are. They are.
They're the ones that are dangerous, and they're the ones that are radicalising. You know, this is what this was all about, this phone call, wasn't it? This
Radicalised.
show today.
Yeah.
You know, the radicalising is coming from those in power, a very small minority, very powerful people. And they're the ones doing it to everybody. And the sheep just follow. But it's in them already. It is already in them.
Maybe it's in
You know, maybe to a degree. I mean, you even admit it, you know, that. Yeah, I suppose.
I don't know. But that is one way of.
Tired of it.
I know you are. I can hear it in your voice, and that's why I'm saying goodbye to you with a heavy heart, because I wanted to part on a more upbeat note or on a more optimistic boat. No, you know.
Even this call, it's been a bit therapeutic.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. Let me read you what Matt says. He says, "Tell the bike he's still a biker. It's in our hearts and souls. Sod the scene. You be you, bro."
You know, I wish I could do that. I really do. But I sold the bike 5-6 years ago, and I've just given up with it.
Oh,
Because it's a scene. The bike is a scene. It's not a lonely thing, a bike thing.
no, I get that.
And if you want to go around where then other people are, and I don't feel like I can do that.
But that's not fair. And that's why we're having the conversation that we're having. I wish it had been more therapeutic. I wish it could be more uplifting, more optimistic. But I'm very lucky that I get to listen to people like you, and I try to come to a better understanding of the stuff that we've been talking about since 10 o'clock this morning. And I'm also very grateful. Well, there you go. It's 12:02.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. From Global's newsroom at midday, Russia has claimed NATO helped Ukraine plan its cross-border operation in the Kursk region. Washington has insisted Kiev did not provide advance notice of the incursion. Troops moved into Russian territory last Tuesday. The former Defense Secretary Lord Hutton says it could lead to an end to the war.
It's essentially a political mission to put pressure on Putin, which I think is fantastic. I think he's demonstrated that the Ukrainian armed forces are still in the fight, capable of carrying the fight to the enemy. I hope that the mission achieves the long-term purpose of getting closer to a ceasefire.
The first adult has been charged with the offence of riot following unrest earlier this month. Kieran Usher, who is 32, is the second person to be accused of the offence in connection with unrest in Sunderland. It carries a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison, double that of violent disorder. Survivors of the infected blood scandal have welcomed plans to begin compensation payments this year. Some will receive more than £2.5 million, with additional payments of up to £15,000 for those subjected to unethical research. Pupils at one college contracted hepatitis and HIV after being experimented on without their consent. Former pupil Richard Warwick says the additional money fails to reflect the gravity of the case.
I think it's derisory and frankly insulting, considering 80% of the boys that went to the school with haemophilia did not survive. And I still can't comprehend how they reached this £15,000 figure. So as a particular issue, that is very concerning for us.
A teenager has been arrested after a chaplain was stabbed at an army barracks in Ireland. Police say the victim sustained serious but not life-threatening injuries in Galway last night. Train drivers on LNER are to stage a series of strikes over a claimed breakdown in industrial relations. Hundreds of members of the ASLEF union will walk out every Saturday between August the 31st and November the 9th. It is separate from the long-running row over pay. The accounting giant PwC has been fined £15 million for failing to report suspected fraud at London Capital and Finance. The mini-bond company collapsed in 2019, wiping out the investments of thousands of savers. It's the first fine ever issued to an audit firm by the Financial Conduct Authority. In the city, the FTSE 100 a short time ago was trading down 35 points at 83.12. The pound buys €1.17 and $1.29. LBC weather, dry and sunny for most areas this afternoon. Showers in the northwest of Scotland, a high of 25 degrees. From Global's Newsroom for LBC, I'm Thomas Watt.
Summer at Waitrose is good right now. Here's the perfect excuse for a barbecue. Pick up succulent chimichurri bavette steaks, spicy harissa halloumi kebabs, and juicy beef and bone marrow smash burgers. Just a selection from our 3 for £12 barbecue range, online or at your local Waitrose. Grab your tongs and turn up the grill. Waitrose, food to feel good about. Selected lines and stores subject to availability.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with James O'Brien.
6 minutes after 12 is the time. That was extraordinary, thank you. I don't remember the last time we did a full 2 hours with every single call being spectacular, being so helpful, so insightful, so profoundly moving as well. So I mean, what the hell would I do without you? And also, what would I do without my wonderful colleagues? Jermaine mentioned YouTube being the way that helped him to discover the show. So I should say, give a quick mention to Matt Sullivan, who runs the YouTube side of this program and is responsible for getting the film, the video feed of it up on YouTube every day, to the point where last week it was the most popular current affairs program, podcast, whatever you call them, on the whole of YouTube in the UK. So Matt, you are, not only are your jumpers glorious, but your hard work is richly appreciated as well. But changing pace now, not just changing pace, changing gear and topic completely, because something struck me about the A-level results that I didn't believe. What was the most popular A-level? What do you think more people took than any other subject? You know? I wouldn't even have put it in the top 5. Look, let's do it. Let's play the game. If you don't know the answer to this question, honest answer, what is the...
Vreau să zic, mă gândeam să vorbesc cu Buceta, să are copii acum să vacanță și băieții ar putea să vină să mă ajute în grădină, să fac curat, m-am ajutat odată.
Cum vrei tu?
Atunci, Corina, Eu făcut acolo ajutat tot cu crengile, pe dea lemne,
Ok. O să chem, da.
da? Plătesc o leacă și... Nu, ei fac, cum fac altceva, vin și fac asta, știi?
Poate să duc și niște apă la copaci. Să tai burenile din jurul copacilor.
Poate poți mai poți să fac pe acolo, dai seama.
Ce-i pe tine? Da, stai așa, parcă ți-a căzut acum ideea genială. Da, dacă
Eu
poate.
vreau dinainte, dar n-ai făcut, zic că...
Bine, la...
Domnul, că se adună prea multe și nu avem cum.
Ia și pune la treabă, ok, bine. Bine așa. Nu știu, pa.
Psychology. And now I've got no way of knowing who's looked it up and who is genuinely playing the game. Maths. More people did a maths A-level this year than any other subject. In fact, it smashed through the 100,000 mark for the very first time ever. It's the first time any subject has ever seen more students sitting it than 100,000. And I've got so much to say about this. Yeah, all right, I've got so much to say about most things, but I've got such an odd relationship with math. Such an odd relationship with math. I wish I was good at it. Nick played a clip of Rishi Sunak earlier today that I don't think I'd heard before. And I thought two things. I thought, God, he was such a wombat, wasn't he? Shall we play it? We should play it. Because he actually, you know, even a stop clock is right twice a day. And I think this might have been Rishi Sunak's stop clock moment. And I found it oddly moving, actually. Let's just listen to it first. And then, is it good to go? Have a listen to it.
When my two young daughters first heard me talk about them doing more maths, they weren't too excited. And that's just it. We make jokes about not being able to do maths. It's socially acceptable. We say things like, oh, maths, I can't do that, it's not for me, and everyone laughs. But we'd never make a joke like that about not being able to read. So we've got to change this anti-maths mindset. We've got to start prizing numeracy for what it is. A key skill every bit as essential as reading. Every opportunity that I've had in life began with the education that I was so fortunate to receive. And maths was a critical part of that. Now I knew it was important then. And when I look at how the world is changing, it's only going to be more important for my children and yours. So I won't sit back and allow this cultural sense that it's okay to be bad at maths to put our children at a disadvantage. We've got to change this. We've got to value maths and what it can do for our children's futures. Giving our children a world-class education is the single most important thing we can do.
11 minutes after Soldiers of Fire. I don't know what that does now, what we think of that now that we know maths is the most popular A-level subject for students. But he's right, isn't he? He's right about the anti-maths mindset, as he described it. He's right about the reading. You know, I can't read. Right. And there's a subtext to it. So I want to talk about the anti-maths mindset. There's a subtext to the anti-maths mindset, which is those of us who aren't very good at maths are trying to make it not matter much. You know? Oh, it's robotic. You're such a nerd. It's self-protection. Jermaine would be good on this. It's a therapy thing, isn't it? It's survival personality territory. Why are you being so disparaging about maths? I can't actually do it. Therefore, I want to portray it as something that is a bit sad if you can do it. But I had no idea. Actually, psychology is the second highest, which is down a bit, and sociology has dropped from 6 to 7. So my pontifications a moment ago were quite good. I want you to tell me why maths is brilliant, and I'm in danger of sounding like Paul Whitehead, that fast show character. Oh, maths is fantastic. Because I am an idiot. Did I ever tell you what happened on my first day at university? What are you talking about? You know this. I left school under some kind of a plan, which meant that, which meant that I did my university first day. I must have. There's about 120 kids in the grade. And it's induction, we're doing it. Everyone's on the same course, a BSc course, everyone's doing economics. Sometimes it's double one, sometimes with another subject in class. It's all about economics at the end, right? And the lecturer says, the head of the faculty says, right, for everybody who hasn't got an A level in economics, please put their hand up. Let's say there's 200 of them, and about 30 of us go on, and look around, oh, this is interesting, what's going on here? I've got an A level in economics. And then he says, could everybody who hasn't got an A level in maths, please put their hand up? And about 15 of us, 10 to 15, and not that small, a noticeably smaller number, we all put our hand up and we look around. And then he said, in a way that made me slightly wary, but he said, almost joking, he said, has anyone just put their hands up twice? If anyone has just put their hand up twice, please put your hand up. And one person put their hand up. And it was me. So that was in 1991. That was my last chance to be good at maths. And I must have done something in my A levels, which were all essay based, or in my interview to make them think I would be able to do it. The course was called Basic Maths for Economists. And there was also a course in logic. And that, in 1991, that was my last chance to learn the music of the spheres. And I absolutely fluffed it. I mean, look, I was lazy, I was distracted, I was in London for the first time, but I also was a mess at maths. And I failed it. And I, to this day, feel that it's like living in a... When I first did therapy, someone asked me to describe why I found it so amazing. And I said, it's like discovering that the house you've lived in all your life has a garden. You just find a happiness, a resolve. Jermaine, I think, was a great example of this in his call in the last hour. So I've always felt like that about maths. It's as if the house I live in has got a locked room. This is my house. This is the only house I've ever lived. This is my life. And there's a locked room that I can't get in. And if I could get in it, my house would be even better than it is already. My life would be even better than it is already. And I can say that now. I can say that now. But for a long time, I would have done exactly what Rishi Sunak just described. For a long time, I would have sought to poo-poo maths as a way of camouflaging or diluting my own embarrassment of being so bad at it. Eleanor, the producer, just asked how hard I've actually tried to be good at maths. And the answer is, in 1991, for about 3 months, I tried really hard. I went to every lecture. I went to every tutorial. I couldn't say that about any of the other courses I was signed up for. And I really tried. And do you know, there were moments where it felt like it was about to happen. There were moments where I got the hang of something. But then, a week later, it turned out I couldn't do it. Matt makes a point that he heard me talking about square kilometres the other week and couldn't quite believe how bad it was. And that is a very good point that you make, Matt. A very good point that you make. So, what on earth am I asking you now? I've no idea. Can everybody crack it if they put the yards in, do you think? 0345 6060 973. I've got 3 or 4 questions for you. Okay? Number 1. Can everyone crack maths? We did a phone in about dyscalculia a few years ago, and that was an absolute eye-opener. I don't think I've got dyscalculia. I know I've got an O-level grade B in maths, so I can't, I'm not